The massive doors of the Galactic Academy station slid open with a soft hiss. Hyunwoo stepped through, carrying a single bag over his shoulder. His eyes went wide as he took in the sight before him. The station was enormous, far larger than any building he had ever seen on Earth. Through the transparent ceiling, he could see stars stretching out in every direction. Ships of strange shapes and sizes docked at ports that lined the outer rim of the station. "This is incredible," Jiwon whispered beside him. She was the other human student selected for the exchange program. Her dark hair was tied back in a practical ponytail, and she clutched a tablet containing all her research on Earth biology. Around them, beings from across the galaxy moved through the corridors. Some floated in bubbles of liquid, others skittered on multiple legs. A few glided through the air on wings that shimmered with colors Hyunwoo had no names for. He tried not to stare, but it was impossible. Every creature was different, unique, and absolutely fascinating. A tall, crystalline being approached them. Light reflected through its body, creating rainbow patterns on the floor. "Welcome, human students," it said. The words came from a small device attached to what might have been its chest. "I am Velthar, your instructor for planetary classification and species adaptation. Please follow me to the classroom." They walked through corridors filled with students. Hyunwoo noticed how many of them stopped to look at the humans. Some pointed, others quickly moved away. A small creature with too many eyes actually ran in the opposite direction when it saw them. "Are we that strange looking?" Jiwon muttered. "We must be," Hyunwoo replied. "But they look pretty strange to us too, I guess." The classroom was a large circular room with seats arranged in rising tiers. A holographic projector sat in the center, currently displaying slowly rotating images of different planets. Students were already taking their seats. Hyunwoo saw beings of every size and shape. Some sat in chairs. Others floated in designated spaces. A few were submerged in tanks of liquid. As the humans entered, the room went quiet. Every eye, sensor, and visual organ turned toward them. The silence lasted several uncomfortable seconds before Velthar gestured to two empty seats near the front. "Please sit. We are all students of the galaxy here." Hyunwoo and Jiwon took their seats. A student sat to Hyunwoo's left. It looked like a large moth with soft fur covering its body and huge compound eyes. It was beautiful, but it trembled slightly as it scooted away from him. Velthar moved to the center of the room. "Welcome to your first session. This semester we will explore the many worlds of our galaxy and how different species adapt to their home environments. We have students from 42 different planets in this class. Each of you brings unique perspectives shaped by your homeworld." The instructor gestured, and the hologram changed. Now it showed a chart listing different planetary classifications. As you know, planets are rated on a scale based on their hostility to life. Class 1 worlds are paradise planets with stable climates, low gravity, and abundant resources. Class 5 worlds are considered challenging but manageable. Anything above Class 8 is designated as a death world. A ripple of discomfort went through the class. Even the term Deathworld seemed to disturb the students. "Today we begin by examining the homeworlds of our newest students," Velthar continued. "Let us start with Earth, home to our human classmates." The hologram shifted. A blue and green planet appeared, rotating slowly. White clouds swirled across its surface. It looked peaceful and beautiful. Hyunwoo felt a pang of homesickness looking at it. Then the classification data appeared beside the planet. Large red letters flashed across the hologram, Class 12 Deathworld. Warning symbols surrounded the text, pulsing with urgent alerts. The reaction was immediate. Several students gasped. The moth-like being beside Hyunwoo made a high-pitched noise and fell sideways out of its seat. 3 students in the back row got up and moved toward the exit. One creature's translator started making distressed beeping sounds. "There must be a mistake," a voice called out. Hyunwoo turned to see an elegant student with pale skin and delicate features. The name tag on their desk read Tae-young. They spoke with an accent Hyunwoo's translator rendered as aristocratic. "Class 12? That's impossible. Nothing lives on Class 12 worlds. These humans are clearly alive. They're sitting right there." Velthar's crystalline body flickered with what might have been confusion. There is no mistake. I have verified the data 3 times. Earth is indeed classified as a Class 12 Deathworld, one of only 17 in known space to receive such a designation. But they look so normal, another student said. This one resembled a floating jellyfish drifting in a tank mounted on a mobile platform. Deathworld survivors are supposed to be massive, armored, aggressive. These humans look soft. They are soft, Velthar agreed, examining the data. Human skin is only a few millimeters thick. They have no natural armor plating, no venomous defenses, no claws or fangs of note. And yet, they evolved to dominance on one of the most hostile garden worlds ever discovered. Jiwan raised her hand. Excuse me, but what makes Earth a Class 12? We don't think of it as particularly dangerous. The entire class turned to stare at her. The silence was heavy with disbelief. You don't think Earth is dangerous? Tae-young said slowly. Your planet has a Class 12 rating. That means it actively attempts to kill its inhabitants through multiple simultaneous threat vectors. Only 3 known species have ever achieved spaceflight from a Class 12 world, and 2 of them went extinct shortly after leaving their planets. Hyunwoo felt his stomach tighten. We didn't know any of that. Earth is just home. Yeah, it can be dangerous sometimes, but we manage. You manage, Velthar repeated. The instructor's tone suggested it found this statement incomprehensible. Perhaps this semester will be more educational than I anticipated, not just for you, but for all of us. The moth-like student had climbed back into its seat, but was now pressed as far away from Hyunwoo as possible. Are they dangerous? Should we be afraid? Velthar considered the question. According to all data, humans are classified as non-aggressive. They are social, cooperative, and have shown nothing but peaceful intentions toward the Galactic Council. However, the instructor paused. I suggest we spend this semester exploring exactly what it means to evolve on a Class 12 Deathworld. Perhaps then we will understand our human classmates better. Tae-young crossed their arms. I still don't believe it. They must have made a mistake in the classification. No species could survive a true Class 12 and remain this. Pleasant. Then, let us examine the evidence, Velthar said. Over the coming weeks we will analyze Earth's gravity, atmosphere, weather patterns, biological diversity, and geological activity. We will compare them to galactic standards, and we will learn the truth about what shaped humanity into what they are today. The instructor looked directly at Hyunwoo and Jiwan. I hope you are prepared to share your world with us humans. Something tells me this will be a semester none of us will forget. Hyunwoo glanced at Jiwan. She shrugged slightly, looking as confused as he felt. Earth was just Earth. Sure, there were storms and earthquakes and dangerous animals, but every planet had those, right? As the class continued, Hyunwoo couldn't shake the feeling that he was about to learn something troubling about his home. The way the other students kept looking at him, with fear and fascination mixed together, made him uncomfortable. What exactly had Earth done to humanity that made them so different from everyone else in the galaxy? He had a feeling he was about to find out. The second week of class began with a simple question. Velthar stood in the center of the classroom, the holographic projector already displaying Earth floating in space. Today we examine the basic physical properties of planetary bodies. We will start with gravity and atmospheric composition. These are fundamental forces that shape all life. Hyunwoo settled into his seat. Several students had dropped the class after the first session, but most remained. Curiosity seemed to overcome fear for many of them. The moth-like student, whose name was Sung Min, still sat far away but at least stayed in the room now. Let us begin with gravity, Velthar said. Most spacefaring species evolved on worlds with similar gravitational forces. This is not coincidence. Gravity affects everything from bone density to circulatory systems to brain development. Too much gravity and complex life cannot easily evolve. Too little, and species cannot develop the strength needed for tool use and construction. The hologram displayed a chart showing different planets and their gravitational measurements, most clustered in a narrow range marked in green. A few outliers appeared in yellow zones marked challenging but survivable. Then Earth's measurement appeared. It was far to the right of all the others, in a section marked red. The number read 9.8 meters per second squared. That can't be right, Tae-young said immediately. That's nearly 3 times the galactic average. Nothing complex could evolve in that. The measurement is correct, Velthar replied. Earth's gravity is 2.8 times the average for homeworlds of spacefaring species. It is classified as severe level gravitational stress. Ji-won raised her hand. What's the average gravity for most of you? A student near the back answered. It was a long, serpentine creature with multiple fins. My world has 0.4 of your gravities. It's considered high normal. Mine is 0.3, Sungmin added quietly. I have to wear a support harness just to attend classes on this station. The station gravity is set to galactic standard, which is 0.35 Earth gravities. Hyun-woo looked around the classroom with new understanding. Wait, you're saying the station right now has about a third of Earth's gravity? Correct, Velthar confirmed. Hyun-woo stood up. The movement was easy, effortless. He had noticed feeling lighter since arriving at the station, but assumed it was just the excitement of being in space. So Earth has 3 times more gravity than this? Yes. Your muscles, bones, and cardiovascular system are all built to function under nearly 3 times the force you are currently experiencing. Velthar's crystalline body seemed to darken slightly. Tell me, human Hyun-woo, what do you feel right now? Light, Hyun-woo said honestly. Like I could jump really high. Everything feels easier. Demonstrate, please. Hyun-woo bent down and jumped. He soared upward far higher than he ever could on Earth. His head nearly hit the ceiling before he came back down. He landed lightly, barely feeling the impact. Around him, students made sounds of alarm and amazement. On Earth, could you jump like that? Velthar asked. No, maybe a quarter of that height. And yet you considered that normal? Well, yeah. It's just jumping. Ji-won stood as well. Should we show them what we do under Earth gravity? Velthar gestured for her to continue. Ji-won dropped to the floor and began doing push-ups. Her movements were smooth and controlled. She did 20 before standing up again, barely breathing hard. This is a basic exercise on Earth, she explained, supporting our full body weight against gravity. Children learn to do this. We do it for fitness. The classroom was silent. Then Sungmin spoke, voice trembling. You're lifting your entire body weight? Against 3 times this gravity? Repeatedly? For fun? Not just for fun, Hyun-woo said. We have to stay fit. Earth gravity is strong. If we don't exercise regularly, our muscles get weak and our bones lose density. Your bones lose density, a student repeated slowly, meaning they're constantly under such stress that they break down without constant reinforcement? I guess so. I never thought about it like that. Velthar pulled up another display. Let us move to atmospheric composition. Again, most spacefaring species breathe oxygen, but the concentration varies. The chart showed most species breathing atmospheres with 3 to 8% oxygen. Too much oxygen is toxic. It causes cellular damage, accelerated aging, and organ failure. Too little, and complex brains cannot function. Earth's atmospheric data appeared, 21% oxygen. This time, several students actually got up and left the classroom. Others checked their environmental suits to make sure they were sealed properly. Tae-young stared at the number like it was a death threat. That's not possible, they said. 21% oxygen would kill most species in hours. The oxidative stress alone would cause cellular breakdown. How are you not constantly dying? Ji-won smiled slightly. We are. Human cells are damaged and replaced constantly. Our bodies are always fighting oxidative stress. We age because of it, but we evolved systems to handle it. You evolved to survive in poison, Sungmin whispered. Your atmosphere is toxic. Not to us, Hyun-woo said. To us, it's perfect. We need that much oxygen. Our muscles use it, our brains need it. Some humans even do activities where they purposely breathe more oxygen to increase performance. Velthar seemed to be processing this information with difficulty. Let me understand. You exist in a high oxygen environment, under crushing gravity, and you consider this comfortable? Comfortable might be too strong, Ji-won admitted. But normal, yes. There's more, Velthar said. Earth's atmospheric pressure at sea level is 101.3 kilopascals. Galactic standard is 35 kilopascals. You're experiencing less than a third of your normal atmospheric pressure right now. Hyun-woo felt dizzy thinking about it. Everything he considered normal was actually extreme by galactic standards. Does that mean you'd all be crushed on Earth? Most species would require protective suits to survive on your surface, Velthar confirmed. The pressure alone would damage internal organs. Combined with the toxic oxygen levels and extreme gravity, Earth's surface is uninhabitable for approximately 97% of known intelligent species. Tae-young shook their head slowly. And you just live there? You walk around outside? We swim in water too, Hyunwoo said. We go underwater for fun. The pressure down there gets even higher. The horrified silence that followed was broken by Sungmin's quiet voice. You deliberately go into areas of even higher pressure? Voluntarily. Humans swim at depths where pressure can reach several atmospheres, Ji-won explained. Some dive very deep. We've reached depths where the pressure is hundreds of times higher than at the surface. And you survive? Tae-young's voice rose. How? How do you not simply collapse? Our bodies are strong, Ji-won said simply. We have to be. Velthar brought up another display. This one showed Earth's weather patterns. Perhaps we should discuss meteorological phenomena. Earth experiences what are called storms. These are atmospheric disturbances that— We know what storms are, a student interrupted. Every planet has weather variations. Not like Earth, Velthar said quietly. The hologram showed a massive spiral of clouds, lightning flashing through it. This is what humans call a thunderstorm. Notice the electrical discharges. Those are lightning bolts, Hyunwoo said. They're pretty common. I saw one last week before I left Earth. Each bolt contains approximately 1 billion volts of electricity and reaches temperatures of 30,000 degrees. Earth experiences approximately 8 million lightning strikes per day. The silence was absolute. And you saw one last week, Tae-young said flatly. Casually, just saw one. They're kind of beautiful, Hyunwoo said. People watch storms for entertainment. We sit by windows and watch the lightning. You watch, Sungmin repeated. You observe weapons-grade electrical discharges for entertainment. Sometimes we go outside during them, Ji-won added. You can feel the electricity in the air. It makes your hair stand up. You go outside during electrical bombardment. A student in the back made a sound like a sob. Why? Because it feels exciting, I guess. Velthar's crystalline form was now completely dark, light barely passing through. Let me be clear. Your planet experiences millions of electrical strikes daily, each powerful enough to completely destroy most structures and instantly kill most species. And humans consider this normal weather? Well, yeah. I mean, we try not to get hit by lightning directly. That's usually fatal even for us. But the storms themselves are just weather. Usually fatal, Tae-young said, meaning sometimes people survive direct lightning strikes. It's rare, but it happens, Ji-won confirmed. Humans have survived being struck by lightning and lived to tell about it. The class session ended early. Velthar dismissed everyone, saying that they needed time to process the information. As students filed out, many looked at the humans with new eyes. The fear was still there, but now it was mixed with something else. Awe, perhaps, or confusion about how something so dangerous could seem so ordinary. Hyunwoo and Ji-won walked back to their quarters together. Did you know any of that? Hyunwoo asked. About Earth being so different? No, I knew Earth was tough sometimes, but I thought every planet was. I never imagined we were the weird ones. We're not weird, Hyunwoo said. We're just adapted. Adapted to a Deathworld, Ji-won said softly. I'm starting to understand what that means. Behind them, they didn't. The third week of class arrived, and the attendance had actually grown. Word had spread through the station about the humans and their impossible homeworld. Students from other classes were sitting in, crowding the observation areas. Everyone wanted to understand how something that looked so harmless could come from somewhere so deadly. Velthar began the session with a display showing microscopic organisms. Today we discuss biology and immune systems. Most spacefaring species evolved on worlds with limited microbial diversity, clean worlds with stable ecosystems. Let me show you the average bacterial count for a Class 3 planet. Numbers appeared on the hologram. Thousands of species, millions of individual organisms. This is considered high, Velthar explained. A world with significant microbial life. Now let me show you Earth's bacterial diversity. The numbers changed. The display seemed to break, flickering as it tried to show the data. Millions of species, trillions upon trillions of individual organisms. The count was so high that Velthar had to adjust the scale 3 times just to fit it on the screen. This cannot be accurate, Tae-young said immediately. This shows more bacterial species on one planet than we've cataloged in the entire explored galaxy. The data is accurate, Velthar confirmed. Earth is a microbial paradise. Life exists in every possible environment, from boiling volcanic vents to frozen tundra to deep ocean trenches, and humans evolved surrounded by all of it. A new student who had joined the class spoke up. His name was Dae-hyun, another human who studied medicine on Earth. We're not just surrounded by bacteria, we're made of it, in a way. The human body contains more bacterial cells than human cells. The classroom erupted in sounds of disgust and disbelief. You're infected? Sungmin asked, pulling back even further. All the time? Not infected, Dae-hyun corrected. Colonized. We have beneficial bacteria. They help us digest food, produce vitamins, protect against harmful organisms. We need them to survive. You need bacteria to survive, a student repeated. You require infection to live? It's not infection if it's helpful, Ji-won said. Our bodies are ecosystems. We're not just one organism. We're billions of organisms working together. Velthar pulled up more data. Let us discuss what happens when harmful bacteria enter a human body. Most species would die quickly from aggressive Earth microbes. But humans have developed something called an immune system. The hologram showed a complex network of cells, organs, and chemical processes. It was far more elaborate than any biological system the class had seen before. The human immune system is constantly at war, Velthar said. Every moment of every day, it fights invaders. It identifies threats, marks them for destruction, and eliminates them. It remembers previous infections and prepares for future ones. It is essentially an internal army. We're always fighting? Sungmin asked quietly. Always in battle? You are, Dae-hyun confirmed. Right now, as we sit here, our bodies are fighting off bacteria, viruses, and other threats. We don't even notice it most of the time, it's just happening. What happens when you do notice it? Tae-young asked. We get sick, Hyunwoo said. We develop symptoms, fever, pain, inflammation. Our body's response to fighting infection. Velthar highlighted one particular response. Let us focus on fever. When infected, the human body raises its internal temperature to kill invaders. Temperatures can reach 40 degrees Celsius or higher. That would kill most of us, a student said. That's cooking temperature. For humans, it's uncomfortable but survivable, Dae-hyun explained. We deliberately raise our body temperature to lethal levels to kill bacteria. We cook ourselves slightly to win the war inside us. The horror on the alien students' faces was clear. The idea of a body deliberately harming itself to fight infection was beyond their understanding. But it gets worse, Velthar said, or perhaps more impressive. Let me tell you about human pain tolerance and healing. Ji-won held up her arm. When I was 10 years old, I fell out of a tree. I broke my arm. The bone cracked completely in two. Several students gasped. I walked home, Ji-won continued. It hurt, but I walked. I told my mother. We waited 3 hours before going to the hospital because my brother had a school event. Then they fixed it. The bone healed. It grew back together. Now it's actually stronger than it was before. You functioned with a broken support structure? Sungmin's voice was barely a whisper. For hours? It was painful, but yes. And your bone regrew? Tae-young shook their head. That's not healing. That's regeneration. Most species don't regenerate bones. Humans do, Dae-hyun said. Broken bones heal stronger. Damaged muscles repair themselves. We can even regenerate our liver if part of it is removed. We heal from injuries that would permanently disable most species. Hyunwoo held up his hand, showing a small white line across his palm. I cut myself pretty deep here 2 months ago. Kitchen knife. Needed stitches. But look, it's almost completely healed. Just a scar. Velthar examined the scar through sensors. This was a deep wound, through multiple tissue layers, and it healed in 2 months. That's actually pretty fast, Hyunwoo said. Some cuts heal in less than 2 weeks. We heal so slowly, Sungmin said. A wound like that would take a year to close for my species, and it would never be strong again. Human scar tissue is often tougher than the original skin, Dae-hyun added. The body reinforces damaged areas. Velthar seemed to be struggling with something, the crystalline being paced around the holographic projector before finally speaking. There is something else we must discuss, something I have been avoiding because it disturbs me greatly. The hologram changed. Now it showed a human skull, rotating slowly. Then it zoomed in on the eyes. Human eyes face forward, Velthar said quietly. Binocular vision, exceptional depth perception, acute focus on distant objects. These are not the eyes of prey species. The classroom went very still. Forward-facing eyes are the mark of a predator, Velthar continued. Most spacefaring species evolved from prey animals. We have eyes on the sides of our heads to watch for danger from all directions. But humans have predator eyes. A student named Bora, another human who had been quiet until now, spoke up. We evolved as hunters, pursuit predators specifically. We would track prey over long distances until they collapsed from exhaustion. You hunted by making prey run until they died? Tae-young's voice was hollow. That's horrifying. It's called persistence hunting, Bora explained. Humans have incredible endurance. We can run for hours without stopping. Most prey animals sprint fast but tire quickly. We just kept following them until they couldn't run anymore. You're predators, Sungmin said. It wasn't a question. It was a realization, and it came with visible fear. Apex predators, from a Deathworld. We were, Ji-won said carefully. But we're not anymore. We evolved past that. Did you? Velthar asked. Your eyes still track fast movement instinctively. Your teeth still include canines for tearing meat. Your brain still assess other beings for weaknesses even if you don't realize you're doing it. The predator instincts remain. Hyunwoo felt uncomfortable. We don't hunt people. We're peaceful. I know, Velthar said. That's what makes you remarkable and terrifying. You have all the instincts and capabilities of apex predators, but you chose cooperation over aggression. You chose to build civilization instead of simply dominating your world. That choice, that decision to be gentle, despite having the ability to be dangerous, is perhaps the most alien thing about you. Predator species don't usually develop spaceflight, a student said. They're too aggressive, too territorial. They destroy themselves before reaching the stars. Exactly, Velthar agreed. In all of galactic history, only 5 confirmed predator species have achieved spaceflight. 2 destroyed themselves in nuclear wars. 1 turned to piracy and was quarantined. 1 evolved into a peaceful species, but it took them thousands of years. And now humans, the 5th predator species to reach the stars. What makes us different? Hyunwoo asked. That's what we're trying to understand, Velthar said. You have predator instincts, Deathworld survival traits, and bodies built for extreme environments. Yet you're cooperative, creative, and compassionate. You form bonds with other species. You create art and music. You care for the weak instead of abandoning them. Daehyun smiled slightly. Humans are pack animals. We're predators, yes, but we're social predators. We hunt in groups. We protect our pack. And over time, our definition of pack got bigger and bigger until it included all of humanity. And now it's getting even bigger, Ji-won added, looking around at the alien students. We see you all as potential pack members too. Friends, people to protect and care about. Sungmin looked at Ji-won with wide eyes. You want to protect us? But we're not your species. Doesn't matter, Ji-won said. You're people, you're in our class, that makes you our pack even if you're not human. This is the strangest part, Velthar said. Humans form what they call pack bonds with almost anything. They adopt predators as pets. They keep dangerous animals in their homes. They form emotional attachments to inanimate objects. They will risk their lives to save species they've just met. We bond easily, Hyunwoo admitted. Is that strange? It's unprecedented, Velthar said. Most predator species are solitary or have small exclusive packs. The 4th week brought the largest attendance yet. Students from advanced classes, Professors from other departments and even some station administrators filled the observation areas. The humans had become celebrities, though Hyunwoo wasn't sure he liked the attention. Every time he walked through the corridors, beings stopped to stare. Velthar began without preamble. Today we discuss psychological responses to stress and danger. This may be the most important topic yet, because it explains not just how humans survive, but why they thrive. The hologram showed a brain, rotating slowly. Most intelligent species have similar stress responses. When faced with danger, the brain triggers fear. Blood flow redirects to core functions. Higher reasoning shuts down. The being becomes focused on a single goal: escape. That's called the freeze or flight response, a student said. It's universal. For most species, yes, Velthar agreed. But not for humans. They have something different. Something called fight or flight. And it works in reverse to what we consider normal. Daehyun stood up. When humans experience stress or danger, our bodies don't shut down. They enhance. We release a chemical called adrenaline. It makes us stronger, faster, and more focused. Fear makes you more dangerous, Sungmin asked. That's backwards. Fear is supposed to make you run away. Sometimes we do run, Hyunwoo said. But sometimes we fight. And when we fight harder because of the fear, not despite it. Velthar displayed data on the screen. When experiencing adrenaline response, human strength can increase by 15 to 30%. Pain response is dampened. Reaction time improves. Blood clotting accelerates to prevent death from injuries. Time perception changes, making everything seem to move slower. You become combat optimized automatically? Taeyoung leaned forward. Your bodies prepare you to fight? Or run really fast, Jiwon added. The same response helps us escape danger. But yes, our bodies assume we're going to do something active, not freeze up. Tell them about hysterical strength, Bora said from the back of the room. Daehyun nodded. In extreme situations, humans can access even greater strength. There are documented cases of humans lifting vehicles off trapped people. A woman once lifted the back end of a car that had trapped her child. The car weighed over 1,000 kilograms. That's impossible, a student protested. The musculature isn't there. The musculature is there, Daehyun corrected. Human muscles are normally limited by the brain to prevent self-injury. We're actually much stronger than we realize. But in life or death situations, those limits can be removed temporarily. The person becomes strong enough to do impossible things. What happens after? Velthar asked. Usually severe muscle damage, sometimes torn tendons or broken bones, Daehyun said. The body pays a price for that strength. But in the moment, survival matters more than later injury. You damage yourselves to survive, Sungmin said. You break your own body to win. If that's what it takes, Hyunwoo said simply. Velthar changed the display. Now it showed case studies, human survival stories translated into galactic standard. Let me share some examples. Here's a human who was trapped in a canyon by a fallen boulder. His arm was pinned. No rescue was coming. After 5 days, he amputated his own arm with a dull knife to escape. The classroom was silent with horror. Here is a human who fell into freezing water. She crawled for 3 days with 2 broken legs to reach help. Here is a human who ran a 42-kilometer race with stress fractures in both feet. Here is a human who walked away from a vehicle crash that should have been instantly fatal, went home, and only sought medical attention when his family insisted 2 days later. The stories kept coming, each one more impossible than the last. Humans surviving falls that should have killed them. Humans walking off injuries that would hospitalize other species for months. Humans simply refusing to die when death seemed certain. What is the common factor in all these cases? Velthar asked the class. Taeyoung answered quietly. They didn't give up. No matter how bad it got, they kept trying to survive. Exactly, Velthar said. Humans possess what can only be described as irrational determination. When faced with certain death, most species accept their fate. Humans get angry and fight harder. It's not irrational, Jiwon said. It's hope. We believe we can survive, so we try, even when it seems impossible. A student that looked like a small bird spoke up. Her name was Sujin, another human. My grandmother once told me a story. During a war on Earth, she was trapped in a building that collapsed. She was buried under rubble for 4 days. She said the only thing that kept her alive was being too stubborn to die. Too stubborn to die, Velthar repeated. That phrase appears frequently in human survival accounts, as if death is something you can simply refuse through willpower. Sometimes you can, Sujin said. Not always, but sometimes just not giving up is enough. The hologram changed again. This time it showed images of humans with various animals. Now we must discuss something that deeply disturbs the galactic scientific community. Human pack bonding behavior. Pictures appeared. Humans cuddling with large predators. Humans swimming with creatures that had rows of teeth. Humans petting animals covered in spines or venom. Humans carrying small predators in their arms like children. These are animals from Earth, Velthar explained. Each one is dangerous. Each one could kill a human, and yet humans keep them as companions. Those are pets, Hyunwoo said. Dogs, cats, birds. We domesticated them thousands of years ago. You domesticated predators, Sungmin said. You looked at animals with fangs and claws and decided to make them family. Dogs are descended from wolves, Jiwon said. One of Earth's apex predators. But we turned them into our best friends over generations of cooperation. Cats are also predators, Bora added. Very efficient hunters. But we keep them in our homes because they're cute and they kill pests. You share your homes with predators because they kill other things? A student sounded faint. And because they're soft and nice to pet, Hyunwoo said. They purr when they're happy. It's soothing. Velthar showed more images. But it doesn't stop with Earth animals. Humans have been observed pack bonding with species they just met in space. There are reports of humans adopting maintenance robots as pets. Humans forming emotional attachments to their ships. Humans treating dangerous alien creatures with affection within hours of first contact. We had a spider on the transport ship coming here, Jiwon said. I named it 8 Legs. I made sure it had places to hide and catch food. I was sad when we arrived and had to leave it behind. You befriended an arachnid? Tae-young stared. Most species fear spiders. This one was cute. It had fuzzy legs. You pack bond with anything, Velthar said. It wasn't a question. It was an observation. If something exists near you and doesn't actively attack you, you will eventually try to befriend it. Is that wrong? Hyunwoo asked. It's not wrong, Velthar said slowly. It's just unlike anything we've seen before. Most predator species are territorial and exclusive. They protect their own and view everything else as threat or prey. But humans protect everything they consider friends. And they consider almost everything a potential friend. Dae-hyun pulled up an image on his personal device. This is my family's dog. His name is Bori. He's part wolf, part domestic breed. He weighs 45 kilograms, has powerful jaws, and was bred from predators. He sleeps in my little sister's bed and cries when she goes to school. You let a predator sleep with your offspring? Several students looked horrified. He would die protecting her, Dae-hyun said simply. That's what pack means. We protect each other. And you've decided we're your pack too, Sungmin said. Haven't you? All of us in this class. Hyunwoo looked around at the assembled students. Beings from 40 different worlds, each one strange and wonderful. Yeah, I guess we have. You're our classmates. That makes you our friends. And humans protect their friends? Even though we're weak compared to you, Tae-young said. Even though we can't survive on your world. Even though some of us were afraid of you. Especially then, Jiwon said. That's when friends need protection most. Velthar's crystalline body seemed to glow brighter. This is what makes humans unique. Not your physical strength or your Deathworld adaptations. Those are impressive but understandable. What makes you unique is that you survived a hostile world and instead of becoming hostile yourselves, you became more compassionate. Earth taught us that life is hard, Sujin said. That survival is difficult. So when we see others struggling, we help, because we know what it's like. Your world tried to kill you, Velthar said, and you responded by deciding nothing else should die if you can prevent it. That's humanity, Hyunwoo said. We're survivors, but we don't want to survive alone. The class ended with a different feeling than before. The fear had faded almost completely, replaced by something else. Respect, certainly. Curiosity, definitely, but also something warmer. The alien students were beginning to understand that humans weren't dangerous to them. Humans were dangerous for them, standing between their friends and any harm that might come. As students filed out, many approached the humans. Not to ask questions about Earth's dangers, but to talk, to share stories about their own worlds, to joke and laugh, to begin building real friendships. The final week of the semester arrived with unexpected emotion. What had begun as a simple class about planetary classification had transformed into something much deeper. The classroom was packed beyond capacity. Every student who had attended any session was present. along with faculty members and station officials who had heard about the discussions. Velthar stood in the center of the room, and for the first time all semester, the instructor seemed almost emotional. We have spent weeks examining Earth and humanity. Today we bring all that knowledge together and discuss what it truly means. The hologram displayed the Deathworld classification scale. As you know, planets are rated from Class 1 to Class 15 based on hostility to life. Earth is Class 12. I need you to understand what that means. The scale appeared, showing different worlds. Most habitable planets clustered between Class 1 and Class 5. A few dangerous worlds reached, Class 7 or Class 8. Then there was a large gap before Class 12 appeared. There are only 17 known Class 12. Worlds in explored space, Velthar explained. These are worlds that don't just challenge life. They actively work to destroy it. Extreme weather, geological instability, high gravity, dangerous atmosphere, and aggressive evolution all combine to create environments where survival requires every possible advantage. Tae-young raised a hand. How many of those 17 worlds have produced spacefaring civilizations? 3, Velthar said. Earth is the third. The weight of that statement settled over the room. 3 civilizations in all of known space had clawed their way off death worlds and reached the stars. What happened to the other 2? Ji-won asked quietly. The first destroyed themselves in a global war within 50 years of achieving spaceflight. The second lasted longer but collapsed due to internal conflicts. They could survive their world but not each other. Velthar paused. Humanity is the only Class 12 species to achieve stable spaceflight and maintain peace with themselves and others. Why us? Hyunwoo asked. What makes humans different? That is what I have been trying to understand all semester, Velthar admitted. And I believe I finally have an answer. But first you need to know something else about Earth. The hologram changed, showing Earth's geological history. Your planet is currently in an ice age. The temperate conditions you consider normal are actually some of the coldest temperatures in Earth's history. Several students made sounds of confusion. Wait, Daehyun said. We're in an ice age right now? Yes, Earth goes through cycles. Your current climate is unusually cold. 10 million years ago, your poles had no ice. The planet was much warmer. Humans evolved during a cooling period and adapted to conditions that were abnormally harsh even by Earth standards. So Earth is normally even more hostile? Sungmin's voice was barely a whisper. In many ways, yes. You evolved during a difficult time on an already difficult world. You are survivors of a death world's harsh season. Bora leaned forward. You said you understood why humans are different. Why we survived when others didn't. Velthar's crystalline form glowed softly. It is because of how you responded to your world. The other Class 12 species became hard, aggressive, territorial. They survived by becoming as cruel as their planets. But humans did something else. The hologram showed images of Earth. Not the dangerous parts, but the beautiful parts. Sunsets over oceans, mountains covered in snow, forests filled with life, cities where millions of humans lived together in relative peace. You fell in love with your death world, Velthar said. You didn't just survive Earth, you cherished it. You wrote poetry about your lethal storms. You climbed your most dangerous mountains for joy. You protected your apex predators from extinction. You didn't conquer your world. You embraced it. Ji-won felt tears in her eyes. Earth is home. Even with all its dangers, it's beautiful. That is the key, Velthar said. You learned to find beauty in danger, to see wonder in harsh conditions, to love something that tried to kill you. And that taught you something the other species never learned? What? Hyunwoo asked. That strength without compassion is just violence. That survival means nothing if you survive alone. That the point of being strong is to protect the weak, not dominate them. Velthar pulled up new information and several students gasped. This is classified information, but I have been authorized to share it. The Galactic Council has been monitoring Earth for over 8,000 of your years. 8,000 years? Tae-young stood up. You've been watching us since ancient history? Yes. We identified humans as a potential spacefaring species very early. But we did not make contact. Do you know why? Because you were afraid of us, Hyunwoo said. Exactly. A species that survived Earth would be powerful beyond measure. If they were aggressive, they could threaten the entire galaxy. So we watched and waited to see what kind of civilization you would build. The hologram showed human history. Wars and conflicts, but also art and music. Violence and cruelty, but also cooperation and kindness. Destruction and creation existing side by side. We saw you fight terrible wars. We saw you develop weapons that could destroy your world. We prepared for the worst. But then we saw something else. The images changed. Humans helping each other after natural disasters. Humans creating international laws to prevent war. Humans working together to solve global problems. Humans protecting endangered species, even dangerous ones. We saw humans doing something unprecedented. You were strong enough to dominate your world completely, but you chose not to. You were powerful enough to make other species extinct, but you worked to save them instead. You had weapons that could end all life, but you agreed not to use them. Sujin spoke up. You're saying humans passed some kind of test? Not a test. An observation. We needed to know if Deathworlders could be trusted, if strength could coexist with compassion, if predators could choose peace. Velthar looked at each human in the room, and humanity proved that it could. You became strong enough to be gentle. That is why we made contact. That is why you are here. The room was silent as students processed this information. Finally, a young student named Minjai raised a hand. Professor, what does the council think about humans now? After centuries of watching, after seeing them up close? Velthar made a sound that the translators couldn't quite interpret. The council is still afraid. But now they are also hopeful. Humans represent something we did not think was possible. A predator species from a death world that chooses cooperation over domination. If humans can do it, perhaps others can too. Taeyong stood slowly. Professor, I need to say something. The elegant student walked toward where the humans sat. When this semester started, I thought the classification was a mistake. I thought there was no way these soft, friendly beings could come from a Class 12 world. I even mocked the idea. We remember, Hyunwoo said without anger. I was wrong. Not about whether humans are from a death world. I was wrong about what that means. Taeyong looked around at the other students. I thought death world survivors would be monsters. But humans taught me something. They taught all of us something. Surviving something terrible doesn't make you terrible. Sometimes it makes you kind, because you understand suffering. The student bowed, a gesture that looked uncomfortable for their body structure, but was clearly meaningful. I would be honored to call you friends. Hyunwoo stood and offered his hand. Taeyong looked at it for a moment, then carefully grasped it. The human handshake, a gesture of peace between former strangers. Other students began standing, approaching the humans. Sungmin was next, no longer trembling with fear. You said we were your pack. I understand now what that means. It means you'll protect us even when we're weak. That you value friendship over strength. Always, Jiwon said. One by one, students came forward. Some asked to shake hands. Others wanted to share contact information. A few asked if humans would be willing to visit their homeworlds, to teach others about resilience and adaptation. Velthar watched it all with what might have been satisfaction. This is what the council hoped for. Not that humans would teach others to be strong, but that they would teach others to be strong and kind together. Daehyun smiled. That's all humans ever wanted. To be part of something bigger. To have friends among the stars. To not be alone. You are not alone, Velthar said. Not anymore. The galaxy has room for Deathworlders who choose compassion, for predators who protect instead of harm, for survivors who refuse to let others suffer. As the class ended for the final time, no one wanted to leave. Students clustered in groups, talking and laughing. Humans and aliens together, sharing stories and making plans. The fear that had filled the room weeks ago was gone, replaced by genuine friendship. Hyunwoo looked out the window at the stars. Earth was out there somewhere, distant but always home. Their beautiful, deadly, impossible home. The world that made humans tough enough to survive anything, but gentle enough to care about everything. What are you thinking? Jiwon asked, joining him at the window. I'm thinking Earth gave us a gift. It made us strong, but it also taught us that strength without kindness is worthless. It showed us that surviving is better when you help others survive too. Do you think that's why the council finally contacted us? Because we learned to be strong and kind? Maybe. Or maybe they saw that we were lonely.